I love this show so much. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, it got me so bad. That last scene was like icing on the cake for just a phenomenal episode. It is so funny. Opera Girl Kageki Shojo just continuously gets better and better and better every single episode. And I kind of express how much each of these episodes are so full of emotion and just that urgency of wanting to cheer for these characters. But yeah, by the way, this is my impressions on episode 12 of Kageki Shojo. And I love this show so much. I cannot express how much this show just had me like, oh, I'm so good, so good. Anyways, let's jump into it. So yeah, pretty much opens up right where we left off. We are jumping right into not only just Aya, but also Sawa's performance. And this is great because I would kind of assume that Aya was kind of over. Like, they weren't really going to get any more into Aya because we had this whole sequence with her dealing with purging herself and how that affected her. And it was really great that they technically did do a callback to that particular issue, and the fact that one of the teachers, obviously the one that actually pulled her back into the group, was essentially silently cheering her on the entire time. But yeah, so pretty much the beginning segment of this was really focused on Aya, kind of similar to what I had to do and what these other characters had to do, was discover a inspiration. She thinks that she does not know love, mainly because she's never fallen in love. And so it gives in this whole backstory where she's, was in love with characters, and eventually her love kind of sprinkled into 3D people, which was a boy from her class that she actually did like. And it kind of puts a lot of emphasis on the idea that everybody kind of notes that Aya is a nice person, and that obviously people would like her and she'd make a great girlfriend because she's a nice person. And oh yeah, by the way, this boy that she likes, everybody sees him as a nice person. And they kind of know each other through their know each other enough that they know each other's parents, enough that she brought food from her parents that he would actually enjoy. So there's a nice little relationship between the two of them. But that eventually starts having this notice of this side character, this one girl that was in her class as well, that everybody sees as kind of like the neighborhood bicycle. She just dates a lot of men, and apparently the last boyfriend that she had was part of a rock band, and they split up because they found out that she was basically getting with all the guys in the band. And so she has kind of this bad rap. And there's all this gossip around. I'm like, just watch. Just watch. This is going to be one of those characters where everybody thinks this is what she is, and then eventually it's going to show this other side of her. Which it technically never does deny that the gossip is true or not. More in the idea that she doesn't really care. She almost seems like a ditzy person, but there's a little bit more of a side to her that it technically does address. This, I guess, very subtly hinting at insecurities that this girl has. What was really cute was that this boy that Aya liked apparently confessed to her. And she dumped him. She's like, no, they ain't gonna have it. And everybody's shocked because, like, wow, this girl goes out with everybody. Why not this guy? He's like the nice guy. Well, we get a little brief shot later on that Aya asks her, well, why'd you turn him down? He's really distraught. And she's like, well, because you like him. I wasn't gonna do that to you. You're my only friend. I would never do that to you. And again, that's like aspect of like, okay, here we go. This is the side nobody sees. She's a good person. Yes, maybe she goes around with a lot of boys, but she's not a mean person. And she would never do anything to Aya. And it was really cute in this scene because it kind of expresses this idea that this girl really liked Aya. And she even says at some point, you're so cute, you should go ask him out on a date. I mean, he's a little bit upset. He might actually go out with you. Why not do it? Who cares how you get to the finish line as long as you get there? He's vulnerable right now. You should go ask him out. He'll probably accept it, and you can be together. Pushing over and over again the idea that Aya is cute and that she's her only friend, and she hopes that she's never not her friend, that they be friends forever. And in doing this, she starts laughing and giggling, and Aya's like, well, why are you laughing? And then you notice that she's crying. And like I said, it's that hint of this idea that this girl who was a friend of Aya's didn't have anybody else, and she had a bit of insecurity about herself. Almost like she realized that she herself is empty. And it technically is something that they get into quite often with storytelling and characters like this who seem like they, again, assuming here, that they're putting out the idea that this girl who was going around with a lot of men was just empty and trying to fill this void And Aya was the only thing that she had technically in the end. It was really sad. And it was cute at the same time because it gives this impression upon Aya, oh wait, was she in love with me? And it was so cute because, like, right then she realizes it on the stage and she goes pale and starts blushing, and her teacher's like, oh no, she's gone pale and blushing. I hope she's okay. It's like, because you just realized something. It was really cute because also in this whole storytelling, in the middle somewhere, it has this point where Aya is going around to everybody. Well, she mainly only went to, at first, Sawa, and told Sawa, I'm sorry, I'm probably going to mess up. I hope that you'll understand and it doesn't affect you. Because she believes that she's going to mess up on the stage, and anybody that's in their group is going to mess up too. And I was telling Sawa, like, you know, look, I'm going to mess up because I've never been in love. And Sawa's like, but I've never killed anybody either, so what does that matter? Like, go up there and do your best. Keep practicing and be confident in what you're doing. You're cute. You can do this. You are kind of a favored type. You can do this. And it was like a really cute little scene. It's like this aspect of don't go around and tell these people that you're going to fail. Yeah, it is excellent because, yeah, the moment she realized this girl possibly liked her, she gets this inspiration. She does an excellent job of it. And not only that, I felt a little bad because the moment that she, like, said her first lines, it's like suddenly out of nowhere, boom, Ando's like, okay, now it's time for Sawa's to bolt. And it's like, well, what the heck? You're not going to make any comments about what Aya just did? And yeah, sure enough, Sawa just freaking nails it. Like, she just, like, looks sinister. Like, they were talking about how, like, she's filled with rage and she's looking at Sarasa. It was fantastic. And then, yeah, it goes back to Aya, and she, oh my gosh, just her singing got me. Like, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is killing me. Oh my gosh, this is excellent. Which is to the point. What the teacher was saying at the time was like, this is her secret weapon. Like, she is a great singer. This is the thing that he was trying to, I guess, nurture. And she just knocks it out of the park. Her singing was absolutely beautiful and well put together. And it was great because after this, Aya goes up to Aya and she's like, hey, what do you think? And she's like, you're worthy to be my rival. That was great. And then more rivalry right after that when Sarasa goes up to Sawa and says, like, that was incredible. I felt so much rage. It was like you were looking right at me. And she's like, yeah, I've never been angry. I never hated anybody. So I need to create a rival that I can, push that against. And she's like, well, who's that? And he's like, I'm not going to tell you. And it was so great because I almost felt like the episode was going to really end on this whole note. And what actually happened was they actually got into a little bit of Sarasa. And I really wasn't expecting that. Actually explaining the whole situation with Akiya, because we've kind of noted a few times that, it doesn't seem like Sarasa and Akiya are, romantic with each other. Like, it feels like a very weird relationship. And I always assumed it was a thing about, relationships with people, especially with, like, Kyoka and stuff like that they can't really have relationships, so maybe they weren't showing it too much. Or it was just a very casual relationship they were having. But what they actually get into, and this is a really weird point, and I really am still trying to figure out what the point was here. But essentially it goes into this idea that Sarasa was about to leave. They had a party, but Akiya didn't show up. So they were going to have a date. They were going to go out together to an aquarium. And he's like, I'm going to be late about an hour. And she ends up following him because she was already going to see him anyways. And she ends up overhearing Akiya talk to Kozobaru. And this is the weird thing. And I'm really still trying to figure this out. And all I can assume is that he was trying to push him. But it felt weird. Because what Kozobaru does is essentially say, look, she's leaving off to this whole thing. You obviously like her. Why don't you ask her out before she leaves? And he's like, well, I don't really know. And he's like, well, okay, you're acting like you have the name of Ko already. And Ko is very devoted to what he does, but he'll listen to me. And I can sway his choice, basically. Nakia tells Kozobaru that basically, no, is this a power move? And Kozobaru's response is not that, this isn't a power move, it's just an idea. And it's very weird. Like I said, it doesn't really feel like it's supposed to... It feels like he's trying to push them together. And he's using his status as a way of doing that. But it feels very dirty at the same time. It almost feels like after Sarasa overhears this, it kind of reflects in what she talks about when they meet each other at the aquarium. She goes out there and says, I want you to be my boyfriend. Like, she's trying to give him the out. She obviously knows that he was going to try, but he doesn't want to force it. And it almost feels like in what she says, finally I can leave Kabuki behind. I'm no longer a child. I'm not an adult anymore, but I'm going to Koka. And I can finally leave it behind. He was even inviting her to one of his performances. She's like, I can't. My grandfather said no. But she feels like she can leave it behind. It almost feels like her overhearing that is almost her continuing her move to not liking Kabuki. I think she still enjoys it, but I think that she doesn't like the politics behind it. And I almost wonder if this conversation she overheard was in addition to that. Again, Kozoburo, I don't think he's a mean person. He does like her and wants her to be happy. He wants her to enjoy the remainings of her childhood, basically. And he's trying to use Akia to do that. So like I said, it feels dirty and it feels cute at the same time. I just don't really know what they're thinking there. It feels weird. Maybe somebody in the comments can, clarify it better for me, but it just felt like a very weird conversation, very malicious in a way. But anyway, this kind of leads into our final scene, which is really amazing. We finally get them coming back and doing the final of the performances for the tryouts. And yeah, Ando walks up and specifically calls out Tybalt first. And everybody notices it. Like, wait, why is he calling the person for Tybalt first? That's kind of gives a sign that his focus is to find out what Tybalt's going to do. And obviously it's Sarasa. And not only that, but at the very end of him calling out, he says, and Romeo be played by me. And I was like, dang, that had me like yelling the moment that he said that. And I just cast scroll and I'm like, wait, what? So has me excited for the next episode. Because it really is a thing of like Ando really acknowledging, I think he's acknowledging the fact that Sarasa is doing this to prove that she has gotten better. And prove to him. And so he's making himself out to be the rival. He's putting himself out there as Romeo to be the opposite to her and give her that extra push to really perform strong. But it also may be a thing where, because in their conversation between the teachers, they're talking about the idea of these students basically doing a lot more than they even try to do, that they have this almost hidden talent with them. They're not to performers quality, obviously, but they're impressing without even trying to impress them. And that's fantastic in their eyes. But I think he's really trying to push Sarasa at this point. And that's obviously a sign because, again, he calls her first and he's putting himself out there to give her a real focus. And I don't know if he's like trying to drive her because he will be the person she's trying to essentially prove to, but also in the idea that he and his performance might bring more out of her. And they're going to see a real true performer out there, obviously, because he's done a lot of, he was the Phantom, he was a fan of the opera, so he knows what he's doing, and he might be able to bring more out of her. So I think this next episode is going to be fantastic. I hope they really do play out that entire performance like to its fullest and really just knock it out of the park, because I really wasn't sure where they're going to end it at, but I think they've set up something incredible here, and I think it's going to leave a fantastic climax to the series. So, yeah, I'm excited, if you can tell. But that's my thoughts on the 12th episode of Kageki Shojo. I hope you guys enjoyed this impression. If you did, leave a like down below. Comment, let me know what you thought of the episode. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if you can. And support us on Patreon if you can. And we do appreciate everybody that does. And y'all take care.